Okay, I know people are joining, but I'd like to get started. We have quite a bit of stuff to discuss today. So thank you, everybody, for joining today's community call, a welcome to OHDSI call that hopefully will welcome some new people from our symposium weekend. We are going to switch things up, switch the order up just a little bit today. Typically, Patrick gives a presentation about what OHDSI is all about after the updates, but he is in a J&J conference, found 15 minutes to step out, and so we are going to start with that. We did want to, like I said, provide a bit of a high-level overview about what OHDSI is all about, and who better to share the gospel of OHDSI than this guy. A belated happy birthday to Patrick. Yesterday was his birthday, although possibly the whole weekend was a birthday. So anyway, I'm going to run the slides for him, and Patrick, you can take it away.
Thank you, Craig, for deciding to show that picture immediately. So welcome, everybody. We really wanted to use this session after the symposium, particularly to encourage the next steps in the journey for all of the newcomers in our community that hopefully came to the symposium and were excited about taking the next step, and also to encourage and promote further collaborations amongst everyone in the community. So I'm happy to join immediately after our fun weekend together to provide this welcome and just to provide some basic context about where do we go from here. So as George did at the start of the symposium on Friday, we want to start with OHDSI's mission, which is to improve health by empowering a community to collaboratively generate the evidence that promotes better health decisions and better care. And it's really important to us that we keep reinforcing this mission, because it's really about how we are trying to bring people together from different disciplines and different perspectives and different geographies, but we're all trying to center on one kind of common objective here, which is how do we actually use data to generate evidence that can inform important decisions, and how do we figure out ways to do that together, which is really at the heart of what we're trying to do in OHDSI. Next slide, Craig. So I guess it was now over a year ago, George published a paper in the Yearbook of Medical Informatics that has this figure, which tries to provide a diagram of exactly what we are doing in OHDSI. In the top right-hand corner, we talk about OHDSI's collaborations. And we have opportunities, or we have existing activities and opportunities for all newcomers to think about how we can collaborate in the areas of open community data standards. So that includes both the OMOP Common Data Model and standardized vocabularies, as well as conventions that we need to establish as a community for how to translate source electronic health record data, administrative claims, clinical registries into a common data structure. We have collaborations in open source community, open source analytics development. So this includes developing statistical packages in R and front-end web interfaces to allow for analysis of data. We have collaborations in methodologic research. So we're trying to establish scientific best practices, but also conduct empirical experiments to demonstrate that those best practices actually work towards having reliable evidence. And then we have collaborations in clinical evidence generation. So we want to take real questions that matter to patients and healthcare decision makers and try to generate the evidence that can support that decision making. Now, each of these areas are opportunities for collaboration amongst new members of our community. There are existing series of work groups that Craig will navigate you through on the website of just how to go find all of these things where you can plug yourself in. But very importantly, we don't expect that any one individual or any one organization is going to be expert in all of these things. I think it's impossible to actually have that kind of collaborative, to have that total level of mastery. But rather what we try to do is create collaborations to focus in each of these four pillars, and then to forge collaborations between these groups. So it's very important that as we're developing open community data standards and open source tools, that those open source tools are compatible with the OMOP Common Data Model. As we conduct methodologic research, it's really important that once we establish a scientific best practice, that we figure out a way to code that up into standardized tools to enable the adoption of those best practices. And when we're conducting research studies to answer clinical questions, it's really important to us that we apply the best practices, apply the standard tools, apply the standardized analytics to make this work. And so whoever you are at whatever stage in your journey professionally and your journey within the OHDSI community, we encourage you to get engaged and start by learning and then start to contribute. And ultimately, we hope that you will become leaders in any of these spaces and joining us in that journey. Now, on the left-hand side, we show the cartoon schematic of the OHDSI data network. And it's important that we try to reinforce what we are trying to do in OHDSI so you can think about how it's going to be applicable for you locally, as well as how you can contribute to the global enterprise that we're trying to establish. What we mean by an organization being part of the OHDSI data network is simply that within their organization, they have chosen to adopt OHDSI's open community data standards. So that usually means they've written an ETL from their source data into the OMOP common data model. It also means that they've chosen to apply some of the OHDSI open source tools so that they have standardized analytics that they can apply to the OMOP common data model. So we work as a distributed data network. What that means is every organization has their data securely behind their own institutional firewalls. We are not aggregating data, nor are we sharing patient level data between institutions. Rather, every organization basically can do their own analyses themselves. And the reason why we want to reinforce this is because we believe there's an awful lot of value that OHDSI can bring to any organization who just has data and they're looking to just do their own thing in their own institution. We've seen hundreds now of organizations who have adopted the OMOP common data model and adopted OHDSI tools, and they're delivering value back within their health systems or their own local institutions by just applying OHDSI's best practices and tools in their own institution, delivering value back to the organization. However, we consider this to be a network because one of our scientific best practices that we've learned is the value of conducting network analyses. And in a network study, what we're referring to, shown in blue on the lower right-hand part of this slide, is that we can design analyses, author protocols, and construct analysis specifications that are basically code that applies those best practices. And that can be made available to the data network such that any organization who has standardized their data can choose to download that code, execute it within their own environment, and share back aggregate summary statistics. So we don't share patient level data, but rather we basically share the answers to important research questions. And once those aggregated summary statistics come back from any of the participating sites, collectively as a team, we can collaboratively interpret those aggregate summary statistics and start to disseminate that evidence through various means, including scientific publications. Now, what's important here is that we've learned over the course of the last decade that any one data source, any one observational data source, whether it be an electronic health record system or an administrative claim, can be subject to a wide array of bias that can impede the reliability of evidence. And so we think it's really valuable and important to conduct network analyses across lots of different databases, because what we've learned is that the evidence that we generate is much more reliable when we're able to ask research questions across an array of different databases and being able to learn across the patterns that we observe from that network. And so, well, if for newcomers that are on the call, if you're thinking like, I just want to do something internally for my own purposes, we hope that you will use freely the open community data standards that we've established. That includes taking advantage of the OMOP common data model, downloading the freely available standardized vocabulary, implementing that in your own institution. We also hope that you'll install the Hades R packages that we've developed to conduct large-scale analysis, and we hope that you'll download Atlas and the web-based tools we made to provide easy ways to design and execute studies. But what we've learned is that if you limit yourself to the one data source that you're working on and you ask questions one at a time, there's a high likelihood that you might generate less reliable evidence than you could otherwise do if you contribute to being part of this broader network. And we've now conducted a large number of these network studies where organizations have voluntarily agreed to execute these studies, share the results, and deliver the evidence. And what we found is that we have much greater confidence collectively in the evidence that we're delivering to healthcare decision makers through this process. And so as you are getting onto the journey, I hope to encourage you to, think about what's in it for you in terms of what you can get out of OHDSI, and we hope that you'll take advantage of that. But I also hope that you'll see the opportunity to think about how you can contribute to OHDSI, which can both benefit the broader community and the healthcare decision makers that we're trying to support, but also support yourselves in making sure that you are generating more reliable evidence to support your stakeholders, no matter what part of the process you're on, whether you're on the data side or the analysis side or the clinical evidence generation side. Next slide, Greg. I just want to also reinforce that you're not alone. Our OHDSI community has grown pretty substantially. We now have over 3,200 collaborators in 80 countries within the OHDSI community. What does that actually mean? That means somebody has joined OHDSI by requesting a freely available account on our OHDSI Teams event. If you're on this call, it's probably because you joined Teams and now have a calendar invite to join this meeting, or you may have just gotten the link off of the OHDSI website. But we've got collaborators in 6 different continents, and we try to create opportunities for this set of collaborators to work together. So Craig's going to go through the OHDSI website and show you all the ways that you can engage. What I want you to really to take away in terms of the main point here is that you're now here as part of a large community. We want you to become part of the community and make contributions, but you're not here alone. There's great opportunities for you to make new friends and colleagues, to contribute to very large efforts where we're trying to build big solutions to really fundamentally transform how evidence is used in healthcare. And you can make contributions and become an active leader in our community alongside many, many other friends and colleagues around the world. And encourage you as newcomers to take this warm welcome. Hopefully some of you were able to participate in the OHDSI Symposium this last weekend to kind of get started on the journey. But myself and many of the other collaborators who've been here for a long time, we're here to help you be collaborators and join our community, and look forward to collaborating with you. So with that, I think I'll turn it back to you to give everybody, I guess you're going to give the updates and then give everybody a whirlwind tour. But I want to thank everybody for joining this call and really look forward to working with you all.
Great. Thank you so much, Patrick. And I see John has his hand up. Do you have a question? I don't know, Patrick's going to be leaving in a second, but John, do you have a question or just kind of have your hand up?
No, actually, I was attempting to applaud his birthday, but I
okay. There you go. Well, then it's a high five for your birthday. So
there we go. I'll take the high five. Thank you.
All right, great. All right, thank you, Patrick. Appreciate this. Always good to kind of have the high level overview of what is going on. All right, now we're going to let's go to our community updates as we typically do. We'll start with we have our upcoming community calls for the rest of the month. Excuse me, for the rest of 2022. I'll start next week with a future directions of OHDSI call. I'm really looking forward to that. In November, we have a couple that will be kind of focused on things that happened at the symposium, a Meet the Titans session on November 1st, and a collaborator showcase presentations on November 8th. November 15th, we're going to do an open network study. So if you are running a network study that you would like to discuss, explain, and certainly more importantly, call for collaboration, please reach out. Let me know, and I can get you onto the November 15th call. November 22nd is a little thing we did a few months ago, speed dating, which was really fun. We just start mixing and matching people in small rooms, so you really get to meet a number of people within the community. Our final set of work group updates will be November 29th. We'll have a presentation on some of the publications that have come out of the OHDSI community in September, October, November. And then the last 2 calls of the year, December 13th, how did OHDSI do in 2022? Then we'll have a little fun on the 20th with a holiday-themed final call. All right, a number of shout-outs, actually, a number of papers that came out this week. We'll start with 7 authors on this paper in JMIR Medical Informatics, coronary artery computed tomography angiography for preventing cardiovascular disease, observational cohort study using the observational health data sciences and informatics common data model, again, in JMIR Medical Informatics. I'm going to go through all 4 and then ask if anybody from any of these papers wants to say anything. 12 authors, excuse me, on this paper in JMIA, transforming and evaluating the UK Biobank to the OMOP common data model for COVID-19 research and beyond. 11 authors here, paper in pediatric pulmonology, standardizing electronic health record ventilation data in the pediatric long-term mechanical ventilator dependent population. And then finally, 5 authors here in pediatric pulmonology. In International Journal of Molecular Sciences. I didn't change that, but it's the International Journal of Molecular Sciences. OMOP CDM can facilitate data-driven studies for cancer prediction, a systematic review. So first of all, congratulations to all authors. These papers will all be linked on the community calls page, but if there's a co-author on any of these papers that wants to just share a little bit of detail about this paper, maybe raise your hand or just kind of unmute yourself. I'll go to the proper slide. Okay, as I mentioned before, all of these papers will be linked on the community calls page later. And if you don't know where that is, I will show you during this call. All right, any other shout outs before we move forward? Okay, let's get some updates here. We'll start with our work group calls. We have 10 work group meetings this week. Before we have meetings through next Tuesday. We'll always announce the work group calls that go up until our following Tuesday community calls. So a couple of these work groups meet on Monday or Tuesday of next week. Anybody from any of these work groups want to share any details about either the agenda or interesting conversations that you've had either in previous calls or during the symposium? Because I know there were a number of great work group meetings that happened at the symposium. Okay, you can make sure you're in the Teams, Microsoft Teams environment for the different work groups to be able to join these calls. Again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, perhaps you may have heard, but we had a symposium this weekend. Really was a terrific event. Thank you to everybody who helped put it on, especially Patrick, George, and Elise for the incredible work that everybody did. This is just a few of the photos that were taken. George started with the state of the community. Martine and Patrick had the plenary session. Fanbu, Seng Chan Yu, and Peter Reinbeck had talks about OHDSI impact or help with regulatory agencies. We had a great lightning talk session, great collaborator showcase, 2 sessions of that, which will highlight all of these research in the next few months online on our OHDSI social showcase. So this was a great part. And then, of course, we started playing with Legos, which if you weren't at the event, maybe you don't quite know what we're talking about here, but trust me, it was something memorable and a great part of the closing. So when all those videos are posted, please do check it out because this was a lot of fun. And then over the weekend, we had a number of work group meetings and a full day tutorial in an introductory journey from data to evidence. This is a picture at the end of that event. So we really had a full room. Again, that entire tutorial was recorded and will be posted, when the videos are available. Okay, we handed out our annual Titan Awards. First of all, it was really exciting to be able to hand out the 2020 and 2021 Titan Awards. Those, of course, were virtual. They were announced at those symposiums, but they were given out virtually, so we were able to do those during the State of the Community talk. The 2022 Titan Awards were announced this week. So we wanted to, or, during the symposium. So we want to congratulate everybody. Data standards, that went to Melanie Filofsky. Fan Bu, who I mentioned, gave a talk about OHDSI's support of regulatory agencies. She was the honoree for the methodological research. Eck Friedrichsen and Jamie Gilbert, won our open source development honors. Xintong Li earned the Titan Award for clinical applications. Unfortunately, she was not able to be there because of her visa didn't go through. So Danny Prieto Alhambra, her mentor at Oxford, accepted the award on her behalf. Ajit Landi won for community collaboration. Paul Naji won for community leadership. And then maybe there was a voting issue for community support, but who knows? But yeah, I got that, so that was nice. But this was really a great moment, and so congratulations to everybody. We are going to have a Meet the Titans session in early November, so many of the people that you see hopefully will be able to join and just talk about kind of their careers and how OHDSI has impacted them. That was a great session last year, so looking forward to that. We also, Elise mentioned to me right before this call that we had the winners for the collaborator showcase. The voting just ended, so we're going to announce those next Tuesday. So please do join for that call. All right, another thing that came out of the OHDSI Symposium was the Our Journey book. This really has kind of covers all aspects of OHDSI. Several updates from the previous year, including new data partners and a nice list of all the different countries involved. Some more about Hades and a number of other things. Obviously, updates on publications. Anybody who was at the symposium was able to receive that book. But it is online now as well, and we'll show you that in a little bit. We talked about Eden a little bit during the symposium. Eden is hosting its final open data call. This is the 7th one through the first 6. Eden has welcomed 166 data partners across 26 countries to its federated network. And the deadline to apply for this data call is Friday, November 11th. More information on this will be available on the community calls page. I'm not sure if Shi Feng is on this call. She said she was going to. Yes. Do you want to talk about this?
Sure. Thank you, Greg. So I want to make an announcement about the upcoming Pioneer Study-thon. Pioneer is IMI's Big Data for Better Outcomes program sponsored by EU. And the study-thon specifically, this is actually the second, as far as I know, Pioneer Study-thon. It's going to be held between October 31st and November 3rd, so for 3 days in Leiden, Netherlands, at the Stella's office. The research objective of this study-thon is to identify amongst those patients who have metastatic hormone-sensitive prostate cancer who will likely experience death or progression during a specific follow-up period. So we are open to bringing more data owners and also collaborators to join us with this journey. If you're interested, I will share the registration link in the chat. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll have the registration link on the community calls page as well.
Thank you.
Okay, next up in terms of opportunities to get together is the 2022 Asia Pacific or APAC Symposium. It will be held November 12th to 13th at Taipei Medical University. November 12th will be a day of a tutorial workshop. November 13th will be the main conference. The tutorial workshop will be fully in person. The main conference will be in person, but also a hybrid or virtual option as well. So all the information is on the OHDSI website. You can find the details and registration links there. Okay, a couple of openings I wanted to share. This one from the FDA CDER's Division of Hepatology and Nutrition, seeking a clinician with bioinformatics or biostats training to work with the drug-induced liver injury team. There's not an application link, and instead, Judy Rakusin asked just to have people who are interested email her. Judy, are you on this call? Did you want to add anything to that? I'm not sure if you are. Okay, so the information is here, and certainly please do email her with any questions. Andrew, I know, is on. He has shared a couple of exciting new openings at Tufts, senior project manager for a multi-site, multi-year grant, and a lead software developer and research data warehouse manager. Andrew, did you want add anything about these?
Just really look forward to hearing from people who are interested in these, both these really exciting opportunities, very active OHDSI related activities, working with a great team. Please don't hesitate to reach out.
Great, thank you, Andrew. And then this was mentioned last week, but I wanted to share it again. Johns Hopkins has an opening for research associate, data scientist, or statistical engineer. Paul Nagy spoke about this last week. And as I said, everything will be available on the community calls page later. Anybody else want to share any updates before we move forward? Okay, so let's get to what we're talking about today, and that is a session about the welcome to OHDSI and how you can become a more of a contributor to the OHDSI community, mainly focusing on the web page. So let me pull this up. Oh, Kristen, I meant to put that on. Kristen, do you want to talk for a second about the seminar series?
Sure. Sorry, I couldn't type and raise my hand and put a link. But for those of you who saw our FDA best colleagues present during the plenary, there are ongoing dissemination opportunities to stay engaged in that dialogue. Tomorrow, Dr. Mark Lipsitch from the CDC in Harvard will be talking about lessons he's learned in COVID surveillance. That's free. Anyone can register. It's also recorded and it'll be sent out with transcripts. So definitely feel free to sign up if you want to hear that and even view it on your own time. Thanks, Craig.
Great, thank you, Kristen. Okay, let's go to the OHDSI website. I believe you should be seeing my screen right now. All right, so we're kind of just going to talk about ways that you can learn, take part in OHDSI, using the website as kind of a guide, because there's a lot that you can find on the website. Now, I'm not going to hit every single page, but I do want to hit as much as possible. If you have a question, I'm going to kind of be looking at the website, so just unmute yourself and interrupt me. But this is the main OHDSI website, ohdsi.org. Pretty much everything you'll find will be on the OHDSI website or on Teams. Hopefully you have a good sense of Teams, but if you don't, again, maybe at the end we can talk about that a little bit, or put any questions in the chat. But on the OHDSI website, there's a number of different drop downs that we can talk about. You've heard a ton about the missions, vision, and values. If you ever are wondering about that, they are right there, front and center on the website. We have a news and updates page that highlights all the different, or much of the different news that comes out of our community. As soon as we get the symposium stuff up there, we'll be posting that. But collaborator spotlights, we have a number of those that we highlight. We try to get at least one a month where we talk to people about the different ways that they collaborate within the OHDSI community. Our standards page really looks at our OMOP common data model. I know this is a page that we've been looking to update, but there is a number of really useful and helpful information on that page. Our software tools will really help get you to a number of the open source tools that we use in the Odyssey community. Hades is a great place to really find everything. I'm actually going to take you here to the Hades website. This has all of the different packages that are available, study packages, how you can help support the tools inside of Hades, the developers. Thank all of the developers in our Hades community, open source community. That's really been a big focus this year, and it's been exciting to see all the work that is happening. Our Odyssey studies. This is a great tool, a great page to see kind of what kind of network studies are going on in the Odyssey community in terms of studies that are available, studies that have just started, studies that are created, complete. If you want to kind of just get a sense of the different studies that are happening within the community, this is really a great page to go to. Our Book of Odyssey. You'll learn a lot about the Book of Odyssey in the Our Journey. It has a good kind of outline of what it is. But this was published, first published in 2019. It's much more detailed. So the Our Journey book is kind of a really high level overview of all aspects of the Odyssey community, where the Book of Odyssey is really a deep dive into kind of all aspects of Odyssey. You can see kind of in the chapters, the text may be small in the but in terms of, the common data model, standardized vocabulary, extract, transform, load, you can go on and on, the different, types of studies, characterization, estimation, prediction. Everything is available here in the Book of Odyssey, and this is on GitHub. This also does get updated as we go along, and possibly, eventually there could be a second version of the book. But the book itself is here on the Odyssey website. There are ones that they're translated into Korean and Chinese, and then you can order a hard copy book of Odyssey, which I have right here. You can order the hard copy on Amazon from the Odyssey website as well. There's a drop down for resources. The one I really want to highlight here are the community forums. I saw Kristen actually post about it in the chat, but this is a really great resource for anybody who wants to learn either about what's going on in the Odyssey community or has a specific question. A lot of people go to this. Now, we talk about teams and the kind of chatting that can happen in teams, especially within your within specific work groups. But questions that you may have about, or you don't understand something, or does anybody have experience in this, or whatever, the forums are a great place to go. And there was a discussion that I heard at on Sunday, or I think it was Sunday, in one of the work group meetings, where somebody was mentioning they don't want to put a question on the forum because they're afraid of it coming across as like a dumb question. Really, it's just, chances are if you have that question, somebody else has it as well, or somebody else will have it. And so it's a great place to ask your question. People will answer it. People are really good about finding these questions on the forum, addressing them. They stay there so that you can kind of go back and search past questions. And then there's also a link here to introduce yourself. One of these form, it's been a little bit, but it is here. But you can just see the different kinds of questions, and then there's different sections you can involve, be in terms of like implementers, developers, researchers. So there are specific groups, and then there's a general one as well. So please do check out the forums. Do not be shy to ask questions, introduce yourself, because it really is a great resource. When you talk about an open community, a transparent community, this is online. This is not hidden anywhere. This is for everybody to see. So this is really one of the key tenets of Odyssey is open communication, and a lot of that happens through the forum. There's a number of other things, some Atlas tutorials, authorship guidelines, the Odyssey GitHub. You'll want to check that out certainly as well. Certainly a lot that you can find there. We have a new to Odyssey dropdown. that has a number of things that I'll kind of talk about as we go. But certainly if you are new, please check that out. Our second line down, start with the community calls. So this is the page I mentioned before. All past calls are recorded and posted to our community calls page. So we also have all of the links that are shared from that particular community call. So any papers that I mention or announcements, they're always posted on the community calls page. So please do check them out. Like I said, you can find all of the recordings and all the information from all the calls from the past year. And these are really great way to just stay updated. These 11 o'clock Tuesday calls, a great way to stay updated on everything that's happening, all the publications that have come out. So please do check that out. Events and past collaborations. So obviously we have symposium and other events every year. DevCon this year, which was a great new initiative led by our open source community. But there's great tutorials that happen during these events and research and plenary presentations, everything. So we want to make sure they're always available to you when you want to look up. I mean, I heard people talking about 2017 tutorials that they watched, 2018. They're all posted on this drop down. Anything beyond 2020, just go to the past OHDSI events, and that will take you to everything. So you can see all of the information that we still have on our website. So like I said, past tutorials,
Hey,
especially.
Craig.
Yep.
There's a good question in the chat, which I think you're covering, but I want to make sure you see it or you hear
Yeah.
it. People are saying they see things expire. Oh no, when do things go away? But you migrate a lot of content to this site, right?
Yes. So what you're seeing when you see that video is expired, that expires on Teams. So I believe it's 60 days. Recordings from Teams will expire. That's different than what you're finding on the community calls page. The community calls page are the videos uploaded to our YouTube page, which I'll show you that as well. Those will not expire. So any past community calls page, and now Elisa's saying she's set it to not expire anymore. So maybe that won't be an issue anymore. But regardless, the easiest way to find any past presentations from the community calls are on this community calls page. But I have seen your call will expire. That is just Teams. That's not on the website. Thank you, Kristen. Okay, so I said, yeah, check out the events and past collaborations page because that does have everything. Work groups. This has been a really big focus for OHDSI this year, is really supporting our different work groups. If you go to our work groups page, excuse me, this has information about all of the different work groups that we have, videos. All of these videos are the most recent update presentations that they have given on a community call. So almost all of these are 2022 updates. As you saw, there's one more page, one more call of work group updates. So there's maybe 4 or 5 that haven't gone yet. But otherwise, these are all pretty recent updates by our work group leads. So you see we have 27 different work groups that are active, a couple on hiatus as well. It's really important that if you're interested, that you join the work groups in Teams. And there's a really easy way to do it. So if you go to the drop down, first of all, you definitely want to join our Teams environment. These are both forms that you fill out that Elise will get you. The joining the work groups form, very simple one. You just share your email, and then any work group that you want to be part of. And you can see, or regional chapter, I should say that as well. Work groups or regional chapters that you want to be part of, just check the box. Elise will get you to the proper place in Teams, and then you're able to join. And so inside of Teams are the work group meetings, the asynchronous chats, file sharing. There's really a lot that happens in the work groups. But the OHDSI website is a great way to just kind of navigate, learn about the work groups, find the right places, and kind of get set up into the different work groups that you want to join. There's also a weekly work group call. So you get these calls from me on Tuesdays, but you also be able to find out when is the next work group call that you would be part of. So we always have kind of up to the next month, the different work groups. You can see the number of work groups that we have. So please do check out our OHDSI work groups page. The Eden Academy. What is the Eden Academy? It is an online educational resource that has been created by our colleagues in Eden, a number of OHDSI collaborators as well. But there's a number of courses on the Eden Academy that you can take that are still being developed. All the courses are listed. I'm not going to remember which page on the book, but inside the inside the new Our Journey book has all of the courses that are in development, courses that have been developed. And I said, this is free, a great way for you to learn about kind of any aspect of the real world evidence generation community that you're part of. Anything you want to learn, the Eden Academy is a great way to do it. This Week in OHDSI is really just kind of, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's what happened this week in OHDSI. But it really takes from the most recent community call, the different updates, anything from that week. So if you miss a community call, that's an easy place to go to as well. I mentioned before Our Journey. So here is the PDF, the 2022 version of the book. If you didn't get it at the symposium or you ever want to just look something up, there it is. The map that we highlighted, organizations involved. I want to actually go to the Eden Academy page if I can find it really quickly so you can see the different courses that I mentioned. Here we go. It's the Eden Academy. So when I mentioned current courses, Eden Foundation, Introduction to Real World Data and Evidence, Open Science, Data Quality, Phenotype Definition, on and on, all of these different courses, Atlas, and then courses in development. So you can expect these to come out over the next couple of months. So this is certainly, as I said, this book is really a high-level overview, different than the Book of OHDSI, not as detailed, but really gives you a sense of everything that is going on inside of our community. Community dashboard. This has been an exciting new aspect of our community that was led by Paul Nagy. There was a software demo during the collaborator showcase. They have different dashboards in terms of OHDSI publications, YouTube videos, Eden courses, work groups. The one that most people have been interested in is the publication tracking. So any of the publications that have come out in the OHDSI community, you are able to get direct links to from the publication dashboard. This goes way, all the way back, but you can see, you saw these slides during I believe the State of the Community presentation, but the number of citations, the number of new and cumulative OHDSI researchers, when you're looking at just under 2,000 cumulative authors in our community since a community that's been together for 7 or 8 or 8, 9 years. It's really exciting. But then I said, there's a certain study you're looking for, this is a great place to try to find it. Support and sponsorship. OHDSI has started a sponsorship program. We had a community call about that in March. So if you are interested, it's a great way to kind of support the community and get some benefits out of it. So please do check out this page. Our 2022 symposium. So obviously this happened this week. The video team is working hard to kind of put it together and get it to me. Once I have it, we'll post it here. So you can get the different slides from the main day, and actually the tutorial slides, I'll be adding that later today. So the slides from the tutorial sessions as well will be available here. But I would say within the next couple of weeks, we should have all of the different videos of the different presentations from the main day, as well as the videos from the tutorial. We didn't record the work group sessions. Those were conversations within the work groups. So if you were part of them, hopefully you got something out of those. But we do have video from the presentations of the main day and the presentations in the tutorial. But all the slides, if you want to look at any of those are available. We also have the Collaborator Showcase page. So all of the different software demos and posters that were presented at the Collaborator Showcase are now available. A call out to people who did software demos. Originally, when I was searching for, your information, we were kind of figuring out how to do it. I said that, they were videos of your demos would be, let's say, suggested, but not necessarily mandatory. So I'm still not going to make them mandatory, but really it does make a big difference when you have a video on here for people who are going to go, who want to learn about it. If they weren't at your demo at the symposium, or even if they were and don't really remember everything about it, it's really great to have some kind of material here, and especially for a demo. I mean, there are some posters or some, a poster or some manuals, but I know this one, I believe, has, this is not linking correctly, but it's there. We'll have to look at that. But there are a couple here that do have videos, and it really does make a difference on this page. So if you did a software demo, please consider, there's still time to create a video going over your demo, and then you can get it to me. Just reach out to me and I'll tell you how to get it to me. But so all of these are available, and we do an OHDSI social showcase I mentioned during the introductions every day for the next maybe 3 or 4 months, starting next Monday. We'll highlight one poster or one demo or one lightning talk from the showcase on Twitter and LinkedIn. Please do join, follow us, share what's happening in our community, so we can kind of continue building on the research and sharing everything that's happening. I mentioned the APAC Symposium. Here's the page where you can register, learn more about everything that is happening at the Asia Pacific Symposium. Again, that's November 12th to 13th. I believe we'll have those recordings up after as well. Newsletters, we do a monthly newsletter. If you don't subscribe to it, really easy to do. All the publications from the past month, updates, video presentations, news, we get everything out there. Certainly next month we'll have a lot about the symposium. And then following OHDSI on social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. The YouTube page is really useful. All of the presentations from the symposium, from our community calls, tutorials and old tutorials and workshops, past events, features. There's really a lot here. This is really a helpful page for anybody who wants to learn more. Okay, that's too much talking from me. So as I said, please do just check out the website, kind of go through it, navigate it as you can, if you can, and hopefully you'll learn a lot. If you have any questions, please do reach out at any point. All right, we have like 10 minutes left. What I thought I'd like to do, if there's any new people who would like to introduce themselves, maybe if you came to the symposium, and this is your first time on the call, or just kind of you've been lurking and you want to get a little more involved, we'd love to hear from some people, if you don't mind. If you would like to just kind of raise your hand, introduce yourself, what you're interested in, maybe how you want to become involved in OHDSI, and if you have any questions, certainly there are some people here who could answer them. I don't want to put everybody on the spot, but if you do have any questions, raise your hand. I don't know if there's anybody, any more veteran people in the community who wanted to add anything from what we just discussed. Certainly next week's call, I think, is going to be a really interesting one, kind of future directions, where we build from here. We talked a lot about what we've done over the past weekend at the symposium, and you're going to see a lot about that in our social showcase, but talking about where we go from here is a great opportunity. So please do join the next call. All right, doesn't seem like anybody today wants to share, which is fine. We do a couple calls usually a year that specifically ask people to sign up and share. And we usually get great responses for that. So I'll give one more chance. All right. So again, thank you everybody. Oh, we have one. Roger, go ahead.
Yeah, you gave a shout out to a bunch of people for the 22 symposium, but you missed somebody. His first name is Craig. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but he was extremely instrumental in creating the 22 symposium, and I think he needed to be told that verbally. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to let him know. I hope he's on the call somewhere.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Saxon, it's really tricky. I get a lot of different pronunciations of that, but Saxon's the way to go. But thank you, Roger. I appreciate it. It was really nice to meet you, and really nice to meet. It's so funny. It's we've been doing these for a couple of years, and I know some people were at the European Symposium, but there were so many people that I've talked to virtually for 2 years that seeing him in person at the hotel was really a wild thing. I heard that I was taller than somebody expected, and I was shorter than somebody expected. So I really preferred the taller one. Yeah, it was really nice to see people, and a reminder of how great it is to have these in-person events. So hopefully this is kind of the way of the future, and we're finished with the virtual events, even though we tried to make them as good as we could. Okay, anybody else want to share anything? Okay. Well, thank you for joining. Continue to check out the symposium page. Like I said, I'm just gonna keep putting things up there, and I'll update you each week with kind of what's been added. Like I said, I think those videos should start to come in maybe by the end of the week, but we'll get them all up there as soon as we can. Check out Our Journey book, join work groups, anything else, and make sure you join our call next week. Not only will we hear about the winners of the Best Contribution Awards for the Collaborator Showcase, we'll get a great discussion about where OHDSI should go from here. If there's nothing else, thank you all for joining. It was great seeing everybody at the symposium, and have a great day. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye.